Hey guys, YouTuber100 here. Alright, and now here I am to continue these reviews over my picks for the top 10 best live action Disney movies. Now here I am to review my choice for number 9, which is Muppet Treasure Island. So, overall, I'd say this movie, it's pretty good. Yeah, this was like the second Muppet movie that's like an adaptation of like a literary classic, and obviously like Christmas Carol came before this one, and yeah, then this one was made. And overall, while I don't think it is as good as the Christmas Carol movie, it is still a pretty enjoyable movie. Yeah, I mean, overall, this film at the time it really didn't like do that great. I mean, yeah, this film really was not like a big financial hit at the time, but over the years, this film has like started has had like a following to it, and now it does seem to get like really liked by a lot of people. I mean, yeah, the consensus on Rotten Tomatoes says that though less Muppet centric than the original trilogy, Muppet Treasure Island is an energetic, cheerful take on Robert Louis Stevenson's classic adventure with typically solid gags. And yeah, that is pretty much how this movie is. I mean, overall, this movie does feel like a little more like a Muppet movie than Christmas Carol did. I mean, this film did like have like a little bit more comedy to it, and it did like feel a little more like the Muppets that people know and love, rather than Christmas Carol did, where it really did try to like stick like try to be like a more like serious and dramatic film and stuff like that. Yeah, this film does like seem to want to be a bit more comedic than Christmas Carol did. And now, just like with the Christmas Carol, a lot of the roles in this movie, like a lot of the main roles, are like still like a lot of them are played by Muppets. You have like Kermit the Frog as Captain Abraham Smollett, have Fozzie Bear as Squire Trelawney, Sam Eagle as Samuel Arrow, and Miss Piggy as Benjamin Gunn. Yeah. And you do have like a lot of other Muppets appearing in this movie. Like in this film, like Gonzo and Rizzo are basically like playing themselves in this movie, but in this movie they're like friends of Jim Hawkins. And yeah, of course, like Jim Hawkins, there is still like some live action actors. There's some roles in this movie too. Of course, like you have Tim Curry as Long John Silver. You have like Billy Connolly as Billy Bones, like around the beginning of the film. There's Jennifer Saunders as Mrs. Loveridge, is that how it's said? And Kevin Bishop as Jim Hawkins. Yeah, and the live action cast, they do like pretty good in this. I mean, of course, like Tim Curry, he's like, yeah, Tim Curry, he's Tim Curry. Like he just always has a good performance, even if it is bad. Like Nostalgia Critic said, just that's how Tim Curry is. Just he's just like such an enjoyable actor. And yeah, the other actors are good in this. Yeah, yeah, it does like have like I said earlier, it does like have more comedy to it. Like this film does have some fourth wall jokes in it. Like there is a point in this movie where like there's like a tour of rats passing by, and like they're like the tour guide is like saying it's a piece of the set for Muppet Treasure Island, which is the movie. So yeah, and we do have some other jokes like that throughout this movie. And yeah, overall, I do think that this is like a pretty enjoyable movie. Definitely like not on par with Christmas Carol, and there are probably some better adaptations of Treasure Island out there. I mean, yeah, I know Disney did like make another Treasure Island movie, which is like one of their first live action movies, but I really haven't been able to find that film anywhere before. So like that film may be better than this one, I don't know, but I've never seen it before, so I can't really say yet. But yeah, the ones that I have seen, yeah, yeah, if I had seen that other Treasure Island movie from Disney, that probably would may have made this list based on what I've heard about it. But yeah, I've only seen this one from Disney, so yeah, obviously I can only put this one on the list for Treasure Island movies. And yeah, overall, it does like try to stay true to the original book of Treasure Island, and I think it does pretty good, and like have its own comedic elements to it. So yeah, overall, I do think it is a pretty good movie. I would probably give this film, I don't know, 3.25 stars out of 4. Yeah. Yeah. And while I'm talking about like these Muppet adaptations and stuff, like we do have these two movies, like Christmas Carol and Treasure Island, which were like adaptations of the original stories. Yeah. Since now like Disney still has like Muppet movie rights and stuff, like they made like these new Muppet movies and stuff. And this is how Disney also owns Marvel. Thing that I've all been thinking of for a while is what if like Disney decided to like do some Marvel adaptations with the Muppets added in. I mean, can you imagine like a Muppet Avengers movie with where it has like the Muppets as like all the Avengers and stuff? I mean, can you imagine how that would turn out? I mean, that would be kind of funny to see, I think. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, it's not about that. Yeah, this is about Muppet Treasure Island, and yeah, overall, pretty good movie. Yeah, and yeah, this film it does have some like decent songs to it. I mean, the first song is definitely the best. Like the opening song, "Shiver My Timbers." I mean, that's just like a really catchy song. I mean, I think Natasha Critic was right to really put that in his top 11 villains songs list. I mean, it definitely was a really catchy song. And the other songs, I guess they're decent enough. But yeah, the first one is definitely like the most memorable one and the most catchy. So yeah, overall, pretty good movie. Alright, so let me just get right into it. Yeah, I probably don't really need to talk a whole lot about this because I'm sure, like, just about all of you know the story of Treasure Island, so yeah. But yeah, I still will try to cover as much as I can about this film. Alright, so the movie opens just with a bunch of pirates with singing song, the Shiver My Timber song, and, like, grabbing, like, taking a bunch of treasure and stuff. And it shows, like, some other, like, puppet characters, like crocodiles and stuff. Yeah. And then it shows like Jim Hawkins is like living in the Admiral Benbow in England, and he's like kind of like a bartender, or he's acting like a bartender or something for like Billy E. Bones and like the other mates and stuff. Yeah. And then like it's showing that like Gonzo and Rizzo are best friends of Jim Hawkins in this version. Yeah. And like Billy Bones is like telling Jim and the others on the Benbow just some tales of like Billy Bones' former captain, Captain Flint. And yeah, he was like explaining that apparently Captain Flint had buried treasure trove on a remote island, and then he ended up like executing his crew afterwards so that he would be the only one to actually own the treasure map and stuff. Yeah. And then it shows then that one night like one of the crewmates for Billy Bones, Blind Pew, comes around. And then, like, he ends up giving Billy what is known as the black spot. And, yeah. And then, yeah, it's just, like, was a sign of real danger or something to Billy Bones. And then he started to, like, freak out about it. And then he ended up just, like, collapsing onto, like, a bed. And then he then was gave Jim like his treasure map, and then he actually told Jim that he was the first mate of Flint's crew. Yeah, and then like as then Bones was then like starting to die of a heart attack. He was just like begging Jim to go after the treasure and to just keep both the treasure and the map safe from any pirates. And then he ended up dying afterwards. Yeah. And then, like, just, yeah, there was just, like, an army of pirates that just came and then just ended up, like, destroying the inn by looking for Billy Bones. But, yeah, Jim, Gonzo, and Rizzo were able to escape from the inn. And as before it was destroyed, yeah. And then they eventually went to Squire Trelawney, who was played by Fozzie Bear. Yeah. And then, after observing the map and everything, then he just decided to arrange on a treasure hunt for the treasure, yeah. And then, yeah, Jim, Gonzo, and Rizzo were then just boarded upon the Hispaniola, is that how it's said? As just boys at the cabin, and they were also accompanied, of course, by like Trelawney and also Dr. Livesley, who was played by Buns and Honeydew, and also Beaker, the assistant. And and before the ship actually set off, then the captain then joined them, Captain Smollett, played by Kermit the Frog, as I said, as well as like his first mate, Mr. Arrow, who was played by Sam Ingold, like I said. And as Jim, Gonzo, and Rizzo were aboard the ship, they also like met and befriended Long John Silver, played by Tim Curry, who was the cook aboard the ship, and like apparently also like Bones had actually warned Jim, Rizzo, and Gonzo about Long John Silver, but over time, like Long John Silver and Jim ended up like befriending each other, and then like Smollett, like during the sailing of the ship, like he ended up like being sort of like suspicious of his crew, and then he felt like they were like shady of their character and stuff, yeah. And then like eventually like Gonzo and Rizzo actually ended up being kidnapped by like some of the crew members who actually he like were revealed to be real pirates. And then yeah, the treasure map was then ended up just being locked up for the safekeeping and stuff, yeah. And then it was later on then revealed that Long John Silver and his like the secret pirates aboard the ship were actually part of Captain Flint's crew, and then now like they're after the treasure themselves. Yeah. And then just then and later on, Long John Silver just then tricked Mr. Arrow to leaving the ship on a rowboat to test it out, but he asked him to leave his hat and the map aboard the ship. And then after Mr. Arrow sailed off, then like Long John Silver just made it seem as if Mr. Arrow had drowned and died. And then like during the memorial service for Mr. Arrow, then like the map ended up being stolen from the safe, and eventually like then like Jim, Rizzo, and Gonzo and eventually like discovered what Long John Silver's plans were. Yeah. And then they then like told old Captain Smollett about it, and then as they as they were coming to the island, like then Captain Smollett just ordered the crew to go ashore, except for the officers. There's, and like their intentions were really to just keep everyone that wasn't a pirate aboard the ship, and then just abandon the pirates on the island. But then it was like like Long John Silver and his crew actually ended up like kidnapping Jim and bringing him onto the island. And yeah, and then once they like got onto the island, like Long John Silver just like was asking Jim to join them on their treasure hunt to and also like use Jim's father's compass. But Jim turned down the offer, and then Long John Silver just ended up like snatching the compass away from Jim. And then like Captain Smollett, Rizzo, and Gonzo like also set off to the island to save Jim. But like after they like left the ship, it was then revealed that Long John Silver actually like had some more pirates aboard the ship before they left, and like they just like ended up taking control of the ship as Captain Smollett was away. Yeah. And then eventually, like back on the island, and it was just shown that Smollett and the rest of the crew on the island just ended up like being captured by a tribe of native pigs, And then, like, it was then revealed that their queen was, like, Benjamina Gunn, who was played by Miss Piggy. Yeah, and obviously, of course, like, since it's Muppets and stuff, like, it's shown that Benjamina Gunn was, of course, like, used to be, like, a jilted lover of Smollett. Yeah, yeah, of course, like Kermit and Miss Piggy always have to be with each other. It's a Muppet movie. Yeah, they always have to be lovers. And then, as Long John Silver and his crew eventually like found the cave the treasure had been kept in, they then like discovered that the treasure chest was actually empty. And then just all the crew was like starting to mutiny against Long John Silver. But during the mutiny, like Long John Silver was actually protecting Jim from any harm from doing so, and because like it was like revealed that even though Long John Silver was really a pirate, he legit did like Jim, and then he like gave Jim enough time to escape. Okay, and then later on, then like Long John Silver and his crew, who eventually like did like find Smollett and Benjamina, and then they ended up capturing them, and they wanted to know from them where the treasure was. And then, like, Smollett was then being hung from a cliff, and Long John Silver's intentions were to have Smollett fall to his death, and then he was asking Benjamina where the treasure was hidden. And then, in order to, like, try to save Smollett, Benjamina then revealed that she actually had the treasure hidden in her house, but after, like, she then just ended up, like, spitting out a kiss from Long John Silver, then, and, like, she ended up, like, being hung as well with Captain Smollett, yeah. And eventually, like, also, like, during all this, Jim, like, went, was able to swim back to the, go back to the ship, and then he ended up, like, rescuing his friends, and then it was also revealed that Mr. Arrow was still alive, and then they ended up like regaining control of their ship, and then they saw the position that Smollett and Benjamina were in, and then they ended up rescuing them, and then eventually then like the entire crew of the Hispaniola then like had battle with Long John Silver and his crew, and yeah, this was a pretty cool thing to watch, like the Muppets like in actual sword fights with like the pirate crew and stuff. Yeah, and I guess I should say, like, in like Long John Silver's crew of pirates, there were some that were, like, actual people, and there were some that were Muppets, so it was kind of funny to see that, just, like, a mixture of live-action actors with puppets. Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting to see. Yeah. Yeah. And then, the both crews like did battle with each other, and then like Long John Silver's crew just ended up like falling like flies. Basically, they all just kept getting picked off one after the other. Yeah, and then eventually, and like Smollett then like did fight with Long John Silver. Over. Yeah. Yeah. And then, like, it was just then was shown that Long John Silver was really the only one from his crew that was left standing, and then he just then ended up, like, surrendering to everybody when he was outnumbered, yeah. And then, like, back on the ship, it was then shown that all of Long John Silver's crew of pirates had been in prison, including him, yeah. But Long John Silver then, like, ended up, like, knowing that he still actually had the keys from Mr. Arrow, and then he tried to take the treasure to escape, but then Jim caught him. Hmm? But yeah, Jim agreed to, like, let Long John Silver leave Eve, but as long as they never do, like ever see each other again. And then, yeah, Long John Silver really was not too happy about that, but then he ended up rowing himself away. But he also, like, ended up, like, giving the compass back to Jim. And, yeah. And then it was just showing then that Mr. Arrow actually had told Smollett and Jim that it was not a seaworthy boat that Long John Silver was rowing himself on. And then it was just then was shown that Long John Silver was actually like stranded on the island without any gold with him. Yeah. And then the movie just ended with like Jim now being promoted as the new captain of the ship. Yep. And then we're showing like there were some scuba diving rats that were trying to recover the treasure that was in the sea. Yeah. And then yeah, the movie then like cut to credits. But then like as the credits were rolling, there was like a thing like showing that there was like Long John Silver was marooned on the island, and there was like a Y head that was keeping him company on the island, and then yeah, just showed that, and yeah, that's how the movie ended. So yeah, like I said, 3.25 stars out of 4. Probably not the best adaptation of Treasure Island, like I said, and yeah, not as good as the Muppet Christmas Carol, but overall still a pretty good, enjoyable movie, and yeah, yeah, if you're just going for the Muppets and stuff in this movie, you'll find yourself enjoying it. It I think just fine. But of course, like for like there are probably adults that will watch this too, and yeah, they'll of course like watch Tim Curry, and they will enjoy him also. So yeah, there I guess there are elements in this movie for both kids and adults to enjoy about it. So yeah, it's probably not like anything like classic. If you're looking for like an actual completely phenomenal adaptation of Treasure Island, this one definitely will not be that version. But like I said, just if you're looking for just a nice film to watch, like with family or stuff, or you're Muppet fans, for any like kids or young adults, or yeah, even any full-grown adults that are like enjoy Tim Curry, you'll definitely get some enjoyment out of this film. So check it out and yeah, draw your own conclusions to it. Alright, so yeah, that does it for my review of Muppet Treasure Island. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.